Morning, this is Doug Rogers with the Counterweight, and here is the weekly 3+1 things that I am thinking about in digital health. Uh, the plus one's going to be the unfortunate collapse of the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And then we're going to talk about the upcoming Vive conference starting next week. Doge goes into CMS and a recent announcement from Sword Health. So let's get started. I am an avid Chiefs fan. I live in Kansas City. It is the best city in the United States of America. And it was beyond heartbreaking to watch our Kansas City Chiefs melt like cheddar cheese going on a Philly cheesesteak sandwich in the Super Bowl. I don't have words for this. I don't even have an analysis of what happened. The three-peat is no longer. Still believe Kansas City is the best team in football, but it was a sad state of affairs. It was a heartbreaker. There's a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth in our household last night as we tried to watch the game in its entirety. But kudos to Philadelphia. Well fought, hard game. You did a great job. And here's to next year. So that's the plus one. Let's talk about the three topics. So Vive conference is coming up in 1 week. It will kick off on Sunday. This is actually my first time to attend Vive, and I've got some very simple goals and expectations. But here's a couple of things that are top of mind and that I've seen in the headlines that I'm looking forward to this next week. First and foremost, Vive, if you're not familiar, is one of several digital health conferences that happens throughout the year. This year, it's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. They're expecting about 9,000 people to attend the conference. Now, in fairness, of that 9,000, only about 500 people are actually from a healthcare system. So do your math, figure out if that makes the most sense in terms of your go-to-market and sales operations. But for me personally, there are a number of things that I'm excited about. So I'm going on behalf of Waypoint, and I have the opportunity, probably the first time in my career of attending a conference, to actually go and listen and learn at education sessions. Now, certainly I've got a business objective. I'm trying to do networking. There's key people I want to meet, but I'm going to have the luxury, the opportunity to go listen to other people who are doing exciting projects and try to learn from them and then put that into practice of what we're doing at Waypoint. So here are the things that are top of my list. There are a number of sessions on value-based care, and I am listening for success metrics, challenges that they're facing, how they're managing through change management, and lessons learned that we should take away at Waypoint in terms of the type of work that we do that can help organizations that are on this journey. Mayo is going to have a session around their approach to artificial intelligence. I think many of us are familiar not just with Mayo Clinic, but they have a platform approach. They do quite a bit of thought leadership to the industry in terms of how they're innovating around new technologies. And so I'm looking forward to hearing their thoughts on how and what they are doing with artificial intelligence. There's going to be a number of vendors and sessions in the Interop booth. They're on the main floor. One vendor that I'm super excited to hear speak, it will be their chief technology officer, will be Be Well, who focuses on consumer and patient engagement. And their CTO is going to be talking about interoperability and the relevance and importance of interoperability to artificial intelligence. In addition to that, there's several sessions around AI and empathy and AI helping to solve consumer engagement. Now, if you're not familiar, my business Waypoint, we focus on voice and conversational AI in the patient engagement space. So obviously that's top of mind for me. But I am super interested to hear how these health systems and vendors are talking about the transition or evolution, if you will, of these models in conveying empathy. And does that have an improvement on the actual engagement process with a person, with a patient? There are a number of vendors I've got on my list that I want to go check out on the showroom floor. I'll just rattle those off right quick. Luma, Be Well, Hyro, Artera, Notable, Camure, because they seem to be buying everything inside. Medical Guardian, who's doing some very exciting things in the senior space. Innovator, and Parakeet Health, which is in the voice AI space. If there are other vendors I should be looking for, drop them in the chat. I'd love to hear from you on people I should go check out. Now, beyond Vive, which is going to be an exciting, overwhelming affair next week, there are other things in the headlines that I'm paying attention to. So once again, the counterweight, we are not a political podcast, but politics does impact healthcare. And there was a headline that dropped just last week that DOGE, the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, is starting to bring CMS into their sites in terms of diving in and doing an exploration around where there may be efficiencies. No big headlines in terms of what we've seen them doing with USA Aid or with Department of Education or some of these other Department of Treasury, et cetera. But a couple of things that I think we should be paying attention to. First and foremost, CMS serves over 160 million Americans and providing Medicare, Medicaid, children's health insurance, and other healthcare programs. So said another way, nearly 1 out of 2 people depend on the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Health Services for their healthcare coverage and access to healthcare. Now, there has been a lot of talk within the political ranks around potential opportunity for efficiencies, for savings, et cetera. And certainly no big surprise that DOGE ultimately would have them set on their sites, if you will, to try to go understand is there area for improvement. I think we all know that there is always area for improvement. However, I would go out on a limb and say that traditional Medicare is probably one of the easiest systems to navigate, one of the most efficient systems in terms of getting claims processed and paid, and one of the most flexible systems if you're a traditional Medicare recipient in terms of finding care anywhere within the United States. So lots to pay attention here. We'll wait and see in terms of perhaps how they dig deeper. I will say the silver lining, the slight positive, is that they have named, or they have several people who actually have deep domain expertise in healthcare and healthcare tech that are part of DOGE that are going to be participating in this. So we shall see. We shall look forward to seeing what comes out of this conversation. And then lastly, the third thing that I'm paying attention to is one of the potential IPOs for 2024 remains to be, or 2025 rather, remains to be seen if they're going to IPO this year or next year, is Sword Health. You may be familiar. Sword Health is a digital health company traditionally focused or historically focused on musculoskeletal care and has built an AI first product or virtual care product to go deliver out to consumers to help them navigate MSK injuries and physical therapy. They have raised well over $340 million at a $3 billion valuation. And once again, they are one of the companies in the digital health rumored to IPO in 2025. No concrete guidance whether or not that will happen, but a lot of key indicators say that that's a real possibility. However, the thing that caught my eye is that the founder and CEO came out in an article, in an interview, and not only talked about expansion areas, so how they're looking to be more than just an MSK company, and some of the areas that they think they're going to move into is mental health, cardiac care, GI care. I imagine those are only the top of the list, and how they think about care expansion with their platform. But probably more importantly was this phrase in the interview, which was, healthcare needs to move away from the human first model of care. Now, if you've been following AI companies, and especially AI companies in healthcare, there has been a real tension, a real push and pull, if you will, around how far can AI agents go and actually providing clinical engagement, care, or advice to patients. No one's really crossed that line yet, but you've got people who are skirting up to that line, who are talking and trying to lean into potentially where this could go in the future. Now, I personally believe this is a dangerous line to cross. And I would advocate in the near term that there's a lot of value in empowering clinicians to deliver clinical care by leveraging AI to take away administrative burdens. And administrative burdens can look at like a variety of different things. And I think there is a tremendous amount of opportunity and using these AI agents on the front end of patient engagement, both data collection, follow up, consistent touch bases that does not cross the line into clinical care. But I would just say, based on what I'm seeing and this individual's statement from other things in the headlines, I think we're going to see companies leaning faster into trying to cross the line from administrative to clinical engagement with these AI agents. And I think the jury's out in terms of the success. I will say for Sword Health, they were one of the first companies that actually had their model FDA certified for how they deliver physical therapy for patients who are dealing with MSK. So perhaps going down the same path where if you develop an agent that's going to be more clinical than administrative and having that certified by the FDA, that may be a viable path. A lot of unknowns there, but something to pay attention to. This drumbeat is only increasing. So that's my 3+1 for the week. I'm excited to be at Vive. I look forward to connecting with a number of friends and colleagues. I'm really, really sad about the Chiefs, but there is still a tremendous amount of excitement, not just in Chiefs Kingdom, but in the digital health space. Look forward to seeing you next week.